Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to do a very special video because I have noticed a trend online that I'm seeing all the time, and that's that guys like Section 8 Kareem or Tom Cruise that talk about how easy it is to make millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands a month of passive income by just buying cheap Section 8 rentals in low-income areas across America is the way to become financially free and rich and wealthy. And what I've got with me today is the man, the myth, the legend, the lumberjack landlord, a guy who's got 150 plus units, been investing for over 20 years, survived the great financial recession, has 20 plus Section 8 units alone in that portfolio. Yep. And what I want him to do is to dispel some of the mystery around Section 8 and maybe correct the narrative, because in my opinion, also as a landlord of Section 8 rentals, they make it seem a lot easier than it really is. So let's first get your take on the pitch that they're making for Section 8 rentals.
I mean, just listen to them. So easy a caveman could do it. It's just that simple, right?
Yeah. Why aren't you rich yet?
Just add a bunch of money and stir.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's fine. No, I mean, I think it's, it's important with any rental strategy to not be all into only one strategy, obviously, from a diversification perspective and just a health of a business perspective. I think that there's nuances to everything, and not all housing authorities are created equal.
Hell no.
Right?
Chicago, awful.
And so we see it all across the country. Some it's like 30, 60, 90, 120 days before that unit's actually rented. How many of you small landlords can actually handle not getting rent for, 3 or 4 months? And P.S., if you're making 8, 9, 10% on your unit, I've got bad news. You just wiped out your profit for the next 3 years. That's just math. So, and it's not exact math, but it's ballparked. So when you look at these different pieces, I think that's the biggest challenge, is that it's not so easy a caveman can do it. It really is specific on the housing authority where you are. It's specific on if there's demand there. One of the things that we really teach in our mastermind, and we call it a boot camp, because that's really what it is. We want people creating camaraderie with each other, fellow investors, understanding each other's journeys, and investing in each other, and accountability in our boot camps. And one of the things that we talk about very often is what people's process was to get into their Section 8. And you'd be surprised. Everybody's like, well, I read online, and I read in a chat group, and I read on Reddit, and I read here, or I watched a video on. I have an idea. Pick up the phone and call your local housing authority. Understand from them exactly what their process is. Have them walk you through their process, because every single housing authority, it basically stops at how they're funded. After that, it's all about their process, their rules, how they do things, their timelines, their availabilities. If you had an all Section 8 strategy, do you know that double-digit percentages in Section 8 this year that rents went down?
I didn't see it in my market, but I believe you.
Didn't see it in yours, but it happened in markets all across the country. What do you do then? Did all of your bills also go down? No, your bills still went up. Your maintenance went up, your plumber costs went up. If you're in the Northeast, the horrible Northeast like we are, the snowplow guy is more expensive. Repairs on all that stuff, availability of all that stuff. So when you look at it, no, it's not just this super easy, simple thing that boom, it's done. It's so easy a caveman. If it were really that easy, they could be selling a pamphlet. But it's not. There's the human element to all of this. And that's one of the areas that people far too often miss.
I think what I see a lot of is people want to figure out what the shortcut is. They want to get the answer as quickly as possible. And so the more simplified that you can make the product, the easier it's going to be to sell, especially to an uninformed or uneducated buyer.
Sure.
And so you have somebody that says, all you have to do is get the government to pay your rent and buy cheap rental properties. And so it sounds like a guaranteed thing. And again, I feel a little guilty because I have some cheap rentals.
Sure.
I have Section 8 tenants.
Sure.
But I've been going through this process for years now, and I have learned firsthand, not all housing authorities are created different.
No.
So people need to understand, when we say housing authority, that's the local city administrative program and bureaucracy that actually manages the Section 8 tenants for that city. So when I have Gary, Indiana Housing Authority, it's very different than Chicago, even though it's 45 minutes away, or even than Hammond, which is 5 minutes away. Each different city has a different housing authority, and they all have varying degrees of customer service. And as the customer, one of the customers, you've got tenants and you've got property owners. it is not as easy as these guys make
It's
it
not.
seem. And what I fear is people are going to lose their shorts because they buy the rentals and then they can't get it rented. They can't get the inspections approved.
Correct.
We should talk about inspections because that is a major hurdle for a lot of investors.
It is.
I bought the property. I want the Section 8 tenant. They might have even found a tenant, but I can't get them in the property because the city won't say yes.
Right.
And I know that you're an expert when it comes to managing projects. So teach us about what you do to make sure you pass every time the first time.
So I use my phone a lot. And not just for watching amazing content on YouTube from Millennial Mike.
Hey,
not just for that.
I appreciate that.
So the idea is that instead of sending emails, instead of guessing, instead of talking to only other investors, yes, do all of those things. But most importantly, make a connection. Make a human connection. Get somebody on the phone that you can talk to. Go down, make an appointment. Go try and meet with them. If you can do any of these things, you put yourself in a significant advantage. Are they going to think about caller 137? Or are they going to think about Mike, the guy who showed up with a beaver on his shirt?
I like Buc-ee's.
They're going to think about Buc-ee's. And so they're going to say, yeah, I remember that guy. He came in, he was asking this, that, and the other. You can ask them. So walk me through your process of what it's like to get on your list as a tenant. I'm a landlord. I want to know what their process is that they're going through to get on your list. How do you guys then allocate housing, right? Having these types of higher level conversations help you better understand how that housing authority is going to behave. Then silly, simple questions like, okay, if I have somebody that's a Section 8 tenant apply today, I would like to understand what I need to do with you in order to move that forward. And then we all know that before any Section 8 HAP contract is going to be approved, that it must be an inspected unit. What is your process and time frame for inspection? Because if you do that before you buy the asset, you might know right away, even after I close, because you can't list with them until after you own the property and you can prove that it's yours and you're on a deed.
Right.
Then you know exactly what my time frame is. Is it going to be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months? What's it going to be? And if something were to not pass inspection, what are the abilities for me to remedy that situation? And then what are the appropriate timelines? Where can I find those guidelines? If you understand really those kind of 3 or 4 concepts and then work the phones and have conversations and create relationships, you're in a far better position to succeed than you are if you're just reading off a website or watching some other guru's video.
Right. And I really think that is the struggle because, so for instance, me, I manage everything at a distance. I'm out of state investing.
Sure.
I can't just roll down to the housing authority and have a conversation with them.
Right.
So I get significantly better results when my property manager
Absolutely.
has that relationship with the Section 8 worker or administrative assistant, whoever it is. If I try to call the program, I am caller 135, and I'll never get a call back.
Correct.
And I can't show up in person. So it's
Correct.
very difficult. And that's why one of the things I always teach people is it's all about your team. You need to have a strong property manager that has good relationships if you can't build them yourself. But what I hear from you is that if you're in your own network or managing your own properties or in your own local community managing your own properties, you need to not become too reliant on the technology we all love nowadays, which is Zoom calls and phone calls and text messages. Get your butt up off your couch, go down there in person and have a face-to-face.
Absolutely. You want to see, and again, very often you'll find that there's multiple authorities that service your area with vouchers. So you might not like one, but you might love another and they're really responsive and they take care of you. I know something silly where I've actually seen people buy properties in Section 8 areas and then go, yeah, I'm looking for Section 8 tenants. And they realize that Section 8 hasn't actually had a new voucher in that area for a year. What are you doing then? You just bought a property that was basically priced based on Section 8 pricing, and now all of a sudden they don't have any vouchers anymore. What do you think you're going to do? So I think that people need to trust but verify. And I think very often people do what's inspected, not expected. So I want to inspect that process with the housing authority to make sure that I understand exactly the steps that need to be taken to make sure that I can get this unit to somebody that needs it quickly. The tenant and I are working together. We want to get them into the unit, but we understand that there's loopholes, that there are hurdles that have to be jumped and crossed in order to get us to that point. And that's what, and the pace of that is really largely what is set by the housing authority in that local area.
So I want to encourage people out there who are watching this right now, or interested by the conversation we're having, to take a step back and take a bird's eye view of the information you're getting. Matt and I have been friends now for 3-4 years, something like that.
Yep.
And the information and the reliability that I have from him, when I have a question, I can just call. We don't just sit down and do conversations like this. We chat at least once a month, probably.
Yep.
And what I would encourage people to do is they need to go find somebody who's going to be in their corner. And I'm fortunate to have found Matt before he got priced out of everybody's corner. He just does this because he likes me now.
It's true. It's true.
But what that leads to, the reason we're here at this event, Michael Zuber's event, is we're here to give back to the community of people who watch and subscribe to
1000%.
your channel on YouTube and my channel on YouTube and Zuber's and Dion's. And there's something special about this community of people. The individuals right now that are off camera that are filming us, they said it best. There's just something different about when they come and they work a Michael Zuber event. The community of people that not only support us, but support each other. The offshoot meetup groups, to the point where you and I are walking the strip in Vegas and we get called at from across a hotel lobby. Matt, Mike, we turn, there's 10 guys that are all YouTube subscribers, but now friends, and now our friends that flew across the country from Hawaii and Colorado and Colombia and Florida, all to come right here. Tell us what makes this community so special. How did it happen?
Oh, I mean, it all started with Mike.
Yeah.
Right. It all started with Mike. It all started with, him trying to share his story and help make a difference for the small time investor, and show people that, this is kind of the minimum of what you need if you want to kind of get out of the rat race, and kind of doesn't need to be any more than 4. And then just, birds of a feather flock together. So it's like, it's easy for all of us to be friends because we're all kind of so much alike, which is, hey, we've struggled in our process. We've struggled in our past. We've found better ways to do things. We always support each other no matter what the issue is. And recognize that we'll also call each other out on stuff and say, yeah, I mean, I think this is how I'm doing it. And it's hard. And, but I think the biggest thing is that all of us spent money, time, effort, and energy to get here. This is my first vacation away from my kids, all of my kids ever. And it was a pitch to the wife where I said, hey, what if we spent $5,000 and went out to Las Vegas and I spoke at a 2-day event with you, and we just got to hang out with a bunch of really cool people that are just trying to get that next rung. Right. The quality of person that you marry when she says, sounds awesome, let's do it. So I'm super blessed to have the wife that I do. But yeah, we've gotten the opportunity to have breakfast with people and dinners with people. And 30 conversations already today, and lunch, and, what will be dinner. So it's a huge blessing. We're, they're as much of a blessing to us as we are to them, but seeing that, we get amped up for their wins, because our wins don't need to happen as often. And for them, watching somebody get their first or their third or their fifth, or finally being in a position when they said, hey, I finally was able to retire my wife. I'm going to be able to retire in like 3 years now. Or I was able to send my son to college. It's all of these things, which is why we do this stuff. So it's just it's an amazing community that's actually for the community, which I'm not going to judge the other guys out there in the market, but yeah, this event is probably the only one that I'd pay my own dime to come to and be a part of.
Well, I'll judge him for you a little bit.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people at different stages of their real estate investing journey.
Sure.
And I've spoken to a lot of people who bought expensive courses.
Yeah.
Or expensive products from other influencers, gurus, what have you. And then I ask them, well, what did you learn? What did you take away?
Sure.
Was it worth it?
Sure.
And to a certain degree, there's a lot of them who don't want to admit it was a bad purchase, so they're trying to justify it. And you go, well, do you have a rental yet? And there is something different about our community, because first of all, I know almost everybody out there by name because we interact with them so much.
Yeah, for sure.
But the people who show up to these conferences, the people who follow your channel,
sure,
they buy real estate.
They do.
And then they buy their next piece of real
estate.
They
do.
And then they get featured in articles like you hooked me up with a Business Insider report, or they get a house hack. Like, they actually get results. And that's what the difference is to me when I look at the people out here that show up.
Yeah, I think it's, one of the analogies that I'll use is, I'm more than happy to help you do the work. I'm more than happy to, give you 10 fingers or put you on my shoulders, but you're going to at least have to hold on to the wall while we do it. I'm not as strong as I used to be. Yeah, I mean, the most important thing that I think that what gives us the energy to keep on putting into it and investing in it is that we see a return. And that return is just human capital. It's their ability to change their life and to change their stars and to create a different legacy for their family. How many times have we heard it where my parents never even owned a home, right? Like we've heard that story a ton, or I never expected to get out of a trailer park.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard all those stories. We both grew up pretty pathetically poor.
A little poor.
Yeah, a little poor.
Broke.
Little poor. But we recognized what that was like, and we recognized that we didn't want that for our lives.
No.
And so now it's important that we've achieved something, that we give back, and that we help others achieve it as well. So yeah, I think that's what's the most fun is celebrating other people's wins.
Always.
Yeah, for sure. It's the most fun.
Something's broken inside of me. It's hard for me to get happy for myself, but I tell you what, I love cheering on other people.
Absolutely.
I can go all out when it comes to celebrating someone else.
I'm very happy when somebody buys a big rehab project. I'm like, good for you, dude. Good for you. It's going to be a journey. Have fun. But that's the other thing too, is that being able to support them through the process. One of the things that, was really tough for me was the whole idea of a course. It was just not a thing I wanted to do. Right. And I got dragged into it. And it was just like, but it was kind of like what was spoken about earlier in the day today. I think it was Omar that might have talked about it, where he said, what are you not doing that's taking somebody else's life opportunity away? Yeah. And that's kind of how I started looking at it. But for me, it was, there had to be a value to it. There had to be somebody willing to invest in themselves. And then I would pour all that I had into them to say, here's everything that I've learned in 20 plus years. Now let's get into a boot camp. Let's get you a tribe that you can be a part of, that you guys can resonate with each other, that you guys can grow together, you guys can build together. It would not surprise me if in 5 years that some of those tribes have 200, 250 rentals.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, some of them are already well on their way.
Right.
So it's just an awesome opportunity. That can be starting from zero. We have lots of students that start from zero, and some that are at 75 and they just say, hey, listen, I just need a better way. Like now I'm getting to the point where I'm too big and I need to better scale. So it's a blessing to be able to give back and have that input. And then if they say, yeah, I really want to get elite at this, then they can make that investment to get elite.
I think it's so important for people to recognize that they need a community.
Yeah.
You are going to be as strong as the people around you. And that's with anything. That could be with your faith. That could be if you like to go to the gym and work out. That could be with the family groups that you let your kids associate with. If you want to be successful with real estate, find a bunch of people who are good, decent people, work hard, and are successful with real estate. Spend time with them. You can't help but become successful.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge with my workout partner being the Pillsbury Doughboy. We've hit that same level.
If you didn't live so far across the country, I'd make you come to the
gym.
Trust
me, I'd be more than happy to. And I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll go. But yeah, I mean, this is an amazing event. Every single year, it's absolutely awesome to be a part of, and I expect it will just do nothing but continue to grow, and we'll continue to hear more and more wins. So it's awesome.
Find a community, join it, be a part of it, and have a story like Matt's one day. Matt, appreciate it, man.
Anytime, Mike. Appreciate you.